Okay, here we are at the last segment of One Man's Faith tonight as we're looking at chapter 12 of Hebrews, and we're looking, he says, strengthen the hands that are weak. This is verse 12 of chapter 12. Strengthen the hands that are weak and the knees that are feeble. And then he gives us some ideas. He says, pursue peace with all men. Okay? We've got to love them anyway. So let's pursue peace. Let's not try and start a fight. And if somebody starts a fight, put it out real quick. Don't come at them, but peacefully, in love. Or just say, hey, I can't deal with it right now. Let's talk about this later. I mean, that's a viable option to do. Say, let's get together later. You know, there are too many things going on right here. Let's get together later. And then just say, listen, brother, I love you. And I don't understand what's going on. If I've done something wrong, I ask for your forgiveness. See, many times we don't like to do that. But what you do is you knock them off of this high place that they've placed themselves. In love, you've done it. And they don't know how to handle it. Pursue peace. Pursue peace. See to it that no one comes short of the grace of God. Okay? Don't let people... Well, the next thing he says is that no root of bitterness spring up. Okay? No root of bitterness. That's poison. The word for bitterness there is the actual word for poison. Let no poison spring up and cause trouble. We don't want that, and many be defiled. That there be no immoral or godless person like Esau, who sold his own birthright for a single meal. For you know afterwards, when he desired to inherit the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place for repentance, though he sought for it with tears. No immoral or godless person like Esau. Why is Esau considered immoral or godless? Because he gave up what God had given him. And that was the first son birthright. We don't understand it like it should be understood. We don't follow through with it. It was part of what God set up. God's intention when he took Israel was to take the firstborn of every family and consecrate them, and they would be the priests. That's what was supposed to happen. But an incident happened in the wilderness where the tribe of Levi stood behind Moses. And God said, okay, because of this, Levi, I'm going to consecrate you to be my priest. But it's supposed to be the firstborn. The firstborn have a privilege. The firstborn have the right of inheritance. We don't see this that much here. We don't understand it as much. If we have 5 kids, the firstborn, is the firstborn, okay, but I'm going to split it equally. Well, see, that's not really the way it was. The firstborn got more because the firstborn is the one that's supposed to carry the family's heritage on. So Esau didn't do that. He sold it. He sold his birthright to his younger brother, Jacob, who became Isaac. And so, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he carried forth the spiritual birthright. And so, but he says, let no immoral or godless person that there be no immoral or godless person like Esau found in your midst. And, there are people that are trying to act like they're spiritual, but they're full of blackness. Be careful. Be careful. As a matter of fact, Paul said, don't associate with those kind. Those that go to church on Sunday, but the rest of the week they walk like they're in hell, don't go there with them. Do not. Say, listen, guys, if you want to go that way, you go that way, but that's not the way the Bible tells me to walk. Oh, you're going to lose friends. Haha. They're not really friends. If you get in trouble, you'll see how much of a friend they really are. So let no immoral or godless person be among you. Verse 18 says, for you have not come to a mountain that can be touched, and to a blazing fire, and to darkness, and to gloom, and to whirlwind, and to the blast of a trumpet, and the sound of words, which sound was such that those who heard it begged that no further word be spoken to them. What he's talking about here is when Israel came out, or when the children when Israel came out of Egypt, they went to the mountain. They couldn't touch the mountain. It was a holy mountain. But God came down and actually literally spoke to them. Exodus 20, it says, and God said these words, and that was, you shall have no other God before me, the 10 Commandments. God actually spoke that to them. And there was lightning, and there was thunder, and there's all kinds of stuff. And that's what he's talking about here. For it says, for they could not bear the command, if even a beast touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. And so terrible was the sight that Moses said, I'm full of fear too. But you have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God. You have not gone to that mountain. You now are coming to the mountain called Mount Zion, and the city of the living God. If you look at the end of Revelations 21 and 22, you'll see the city come down. And this is the city he's talking about. This is the city that chapter 11 talks about, where it says, and they were looking towards the city whose builder and maker was God. The heavenly Jerusalem, he says, and to myriads of angels, to the general assembly and the church of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood, which speaks better than the blood of Abel. This is what we're coming to. We're coming to God. We're coming to the city of God. And that's what we have to look forward to, is that city. He says in verse 25, see to it that you not refuse him who is speaking. Who is speaking? Jesus. Don't refuse him. For if those did not escape when they refused him who warned them on earth, much less will we escape who turn away from him who warns from heaven. God said, you walk this way. As long as you walk this way, you will be blessed. If you turn from this way, the curse will come upon you. And they turned. But you're not coming there. You're coming to the living God, on Mount Zion, to the new city, the city of Jerusalem. And if they didn't escape, how do you think you're going to escape if you don't come to him? How much less will we escape who turn away from him who warns from heaven? You're being warned. Right now, if you're listening to me, you're being warned. You come to Jesus. That's what I'm going to warn you right now. Come to Jesus or die. That's the choice. Now, many of you don't think that's right. I can't help it. I may not think it's right, but what I think has nothing to do with it. The King of the universe set this up, and he said the only way is through Jesus Christ. I didn't set it up. Obama didn't set it up. Who's the guy in Russia? He didn't set it up. Netanyahu didn't set it up. God set it up. God set this up. And he said, the only way to come to me is through my son. That's the warning. Okay? That's what he says. He says, let us show gratitude. I'm going to skip down to verse 28. Therefore, since we receive a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us show gratitude by which we offer to God an acceptable service with reverence and awe to our God, who is a consuming fire. Let us show gratitude. Friends, look around you and see what you have. Look at you and what you have and who you are, what God has given you. Let us show gratitude for all that we have and for all that we are. God has given these things to us. And he'll give us more. He says, don't worry about anything, but seek first the kingdom. Don't worry. We've got to get away from worry, especially as children of God, because there's nothing for us to worry about. God said, listen, I'll meet your need. He said, if you seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, then, or my righteousness, God speaking, then all these things will be added unto you. How do we do that? By coming back to God. You cannot run so far from God that you can't come back. All you've got to do is stop running and say, Father, forgive me. Lord, I'm sorry. Help me to change my life. If you have never accepted Jesus as Lord, then you can do that to start this life by saying, Jesus, I accept you as Lord of my life. Show me your ways. I will walk them. And I believe that God raised you from the dead and you are the Son of God. If you'll say that, now say it, mean it, then let's get baptized. All right, go to some church and say, I want to be baptized. Come to my church, I'll baptize you. Either way, and then start to walk with God. Get into his word, okay? God bless you. Have a great time. I'll see you next week.